Hey people, it's Steel Gamer, and this is going to be the last video I'll be talking about MSI Afterburner because apparently people still have absolutely no clue how to give instructions. Despite how many times I've asked, the way I've asked, the explanations and the examples I've given, people still do not know how to answer a question. So I'll be using the replies that people gave me in conjunction with this to explain a few things. So first, I'm going to break down and explain to people what people are doing when I ask them something so you get the full scope of why I'm making this video, and then I'll go into using questions that hopefully this will get the point across. So this is what people are doing when I ask a question. I ask people, hey, how do you use MSI Afterburner to figure out whether or not you have a lag spike in the game? And then how do you get that end result and use the end result to fix it? And instead of people giving me the step-by-step process that they use once they have MSI Afterburner open, this is what they tell me. Well, low 1% and low 0.1% are really important because people want to make sure that their game is running right, wouldn't you? What the hell does that have to do with what I asked? They're not even related, and how anybody would even bring that up is mind-boggling. Next, people are saying they're not fixing their game with this while saying they're fixing their game with this, so it's a contradiction. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. If you are using the end result of some test run that you got with some numbers that you got, and then you are tweaking the game in accordance to those test results because those test results showed you that there may have been something wrong or out of whack with the game, you are using MSI Afterburner to get results to fix the game. Don't say you're not fixing the game with the results when that's exactly what you're doing. Okay, that being said, now I'm going to get into a few things here, and I'll be using some of the replies people gave me. So, somebody said, let's say you got 10 samples. All right, I'm going to stop right there. What do you mean getting 10 samples? What does that mean? When you say, you guys are saying you guys are getting information, you're not saying where or how you're getting the information. You're just saying these stats read stuff. So, if you say you're getting 10 samples, what are you talking about? Are you running the game 10 times? Are you launching MSI Afterburner? When you launch MSI Afterburner, are you staring at the screen, timing it? Are you running the game for 5 minutes or are you running it for an hour? What is the actual procedure you are doing to even get numbers? Okay? And secondly, explain to me what you're talking about average FPS. Now, I know what an average is. In order to get an average, you need a minimal of two numbers. You then add the two number results together, and then you divide the result by the amount of numbers you have. So if you have four numbers, you add all four numbers together, and then you divide the answer by 4. I know what an average is. I am asking you how you're getting an average when you're running MSI Afterburner once. When you run MSI Afterburner and you run a game, you are getting a single result. And if you're not getting a single result, explain to me how you are getting multiple numbers out of running it once. Furthermore, if you stop the game and then you start it up again, you have completely erased or wiped out the first result. The first result doesn't matter. In order to get an average, you have to get it within the same run. Okay? Meaning, if you're running the game for an hour, there would have to be 10 separate, if you're getting 10 results, you would have to run the game for an X amount of time or a length of time, and then there would have to be 10 separate incidences that show up in order for you to get these samples. In other words, you can't get 10 samples from one run, and if you can, nobody's explaining how they're doing it. Again, are you staring at the screen? Are you timing your watch? And on top of that, once you get all that, how are you determining that the game has a problem? How do you connect low 1% and low 0.01% with the end result. Because if I run this stuff 10 separate times, that I may have 10 different things, but I still have nothing, no procedural mathematical way to take those 10 separate things and figure out if there's a problem with the game. What you're doing when you're running it has nothing to do with how you're achieving the end result. There is a step-by-step procedure that nobody is explaining. You can't just say, well, these look at stuff and they get an average. You need to explain the way the average is even, how are you getting an average? Where are the two numbers that you're using from one run to get the average? Are you taking the low 1% number that shows up, the 0.1, the low 0.1% number that shows up with the FPS and adding those numbers together? And if so, how does that tell you still? That does not tell you there is a problem with the game. So people are saying that you want your game running right and you're somehow able to do this and yet can't connect the procedure together in order to get that answer. So I want to know, when you open up MSI Afterburner, how are you running it and then figuring out there's a problem with the game? When you say samples, what do you mean? If you have 10 samples and one is 60, 60, 60, 40, 60, 60, 60, 60, whatever, how do you know that 40 is a problem? Just because it dropped to 40, what is this example? Nobody's explaining anything that makes any logical sense, and the math equations that you guys are using do not make any sense at all. So, here's something better. Somebody needs to make a video saying this. All right, I'm going to show you how I find out if there's a problem with the game. So first, we're going to launch MSI Afterburner. Then we're going to launch this game. Now, when I launch this, I'm going to make sure, this is on the screen, this is on the screen, this is on the screen. And at this point, I'm going to write this number down. Oh, whatever the procedure you guys are doing is, you need to literally go into a detailed step-by-step process from when you open up MSI Afterburner to running the game to showing the actual math you're using and how you're even getting these numbers and how you would even possibly know that that number poses a problem or a potential problem. Then you need to explain how you are getting the end result to basically make the gameplay smoother, because what people are saying they're doing is they're somehow taking the number that shows there may be a problem with it and then going into the game setting to tweak them to get rid of that. If that's not what you're doing, then people are really fucked up. So hopefully people now understand when I ask how you're getting it, what the fuck I'm actually talking about, because nobody's answering anything. Now, please answer this, because I'm not bringing this up anymore. If nobody answers this, then I've arrived at the conclusion that you guys are just trolling and nobody has a clue to what the hell's being talked about. That's it. Steel Gamer signing out. Have a good one.